Hey guys, it's Elise and welcome back to My Cupcake Addiction. Today I'm going to show you how to make a full-size Wonka Inspired candy covered drip cake. To make your Wonka cake, you're going to need frosting. Now I'm using a double batch of my perfectly pipeable buttercream frosting, which I'll link to down below. Half of that I've tinted purple, and this is an Americolor color, it's a regal purple. And then the other half I split out into 5 colors and did green, red, orange, blue, and yellow. I'm making a ganache today, so I've got some cream and also some white chocolate, and then a little bit of, I'm using like a navy blue or a blue food coloring to go with that. You can use candy melts, or I chose to tint white chocolate today. So I've got blue, purple, yellow, orange, and pink. I've got candy, of course. Apart from having just a white chocolate cookies and cream candy bar, I've got giant chocolate buttons, I've got candy coated licorice, I've got these little kind of striped licorice strips, some sprinkles, I've got round sprinkles, I've got little long sprinkles, and then I've got kind of these rainbow candies. Guys, this is a Wonka cake. Pick your favorite candies and go crazy with them. The more colorful, the more bright, the better. For the top of my cake, I've got some taller candies. So I've got a gigantic gummy bear because, I mean, if I think back to the Wonka forest scene, there are definitely gigantic gummy bears. And then I've got lollipops, rock candy, and basically just a really good variation in colors. For my cake today, I'm using 5 layers. I've got 7" by 1", just over 1" high sponges. By the time I trim those down, they're all gonna be about 1 inch. 5 of those is gonna give us a really nice, tall, barrel looking cake. If you're looking at tools today, I'm gonna leave everything that you need in the description box below. So the first thing that you wanna do is you wanna level off your cakes. Now, normally I use a serrated edge knife, but you guys have been on me to get a cake leveler, so I bought a very cheap one. It was about $13, and we're gonna have a go at that. So I'm just gonna make sure that it's the right size for my cake by adjusting my little side pieces, and then I'm just gonna level off each of my cake layers. Once I've leveled off the top, I'm gonna use my serrated edge knife just to make sure that I've got no brown crumbs at all, and then I'm gonna level off the bottom, or just sort of remove that brown cake section from the bottom. Once all of your cakes are leveled, you want to take a little bit of frosting and put it down onto your cake board or your cake plate. Use that to stick your first layer of cake down, and then I opted for a different color frosting in between each layer. So I'm only baking white cakes, but I'm using rainbow colored frosting, and you'll still get a really colorful effect when you cut into this cake. Because I have 5 cake layers and 5 different colors of cake frosting, when you get to the top, your red frosting is actually going to form also the top layer of your cake. So we're going to have to refrigerate this so that it's firm enough that we can coat it again in purple. With all of your cakes stacked and frosted in the middle, you want to take your serrated edge knife and just trim the outside edges. I like to do this after the cakes are stacked so that I can make sure that they're all the same size, and I'm just removing any of those browned cake edges from around the outsides of my cake. Pop that one off into the fridge and let it set for 15 minutes, and once you're happy that your top section of red is firm to touch, then you can take your purple frosting and, using your offset spatula, make like a crumb coat on the outside. So you can see that I'm just working my spatula back and forward around the outside edge of my cake to collect any crumbs. Put your cake crumb coated back off into the fridge for about 20 minutes, and then we're gonna come back out and do our final coat of frosting. When your crumb-coated cake comes out of the fridge, you can take a generous amount of that purple frosting and use your offset spatula to apply it all over the outside of that cake, including the top. I'm going to use a scraper, but a metal ruler also works really well for this, and I'm just going to scrape back the outside edges so they're really nice and smooth. For this reason, you want to make sure you've got plenty of frosting on the outside so that you're not revealing any of that cake underneath as you scrape back to smoothness. Once your cake's beautifully smooth, you can use your ruler or your scraper to level off the top and get it as nice and sharp-edged as possible. Once your cake's completely frosted, you want to work while that frosting is still nice and soft before it starts to crust. I'm just going to take some of my larger candies and then some of my smaller ones and stick them straight onto that frosting, kind of creating like a big colorful candy border all around the bottom. Put your cake back off into the fridge for about 20 minutes. While your cake's chilling out in the fridge, we're gonna make some custom chocolate shards to go on top of this Wonka cake. I love this because you can really get creative and customize the colors. So I'm gonna start with my blue candy melt or my blue chocolate, and I'm just gonna pour that all over my baking paper. Kind of gonna spread it around a little bit and then just add in some spoonfuls of yellow because I like the contrast of color. And then you want to take just the back of a skewer and you're just going to kind of figure 8 it all the way throughout to swirl that around. I chose to use some of my sprinkles and some of my little rainbow candies here intermixed with some of those larger candies, but I didn't go too crazy because I kind of want this to be like a candy bark with pops of candy attached. I'm gonna make two different colors. So I'm gonna repeat the same with an orange base with a little bit of purple spooned in. Once again, figurated, and then add your chosen candy. I opted for two colors here, but guys, go crazy and pick your favorite colors. You wanna set those off to the side, and after about 4 or 5 minutes, they'll be just starting to set, but they won't be firm. That's your opportunity to grab a really sharp knife and cut them into shards. I like to go for big, long triangles here. Set them off to the side and let them completely set at room temperature, and then you'll pop them back into the fridge just 5 minutes before you wanna use them. Finally, in addition to your chocolate shards, I just took some melted pink candy melt, literally dipped just a Hershey bar in it, let it dribble down a little bit, and then topped it off with sprinkles. Kinda looks like a block of chocolate, kinda looks a bit like a shard. So now it's time to make your ganache. You wanna pour your cream over that white chocolate. I'm gonna microwave that on 30-second intervals. It's only gonna take a minute max, stirring really well in between until it's super smooth. Once it's smooth, I'm gonna add a couple of drops of food coloring. I kind of wanted like not too much of a vibrant blue, more of a powder blue. So I opted for an AmeriColor navy blue. This is actually a candy coloring, but I find if you don't add enough to make it navy, it gives you a really nice kind of a powder blue. Once your ganache is set, you just wanna sit it off to the side, just at room temperature. Cover it with a bit of plastic wrap so it doesn't form a crust, and we need that to come back down to not cold, but certainly not hot anymore before it can drip over the top of our cake. So we've got our candy border and our cake's frosted, and the moment of truth for any drip cake always comes in the drip. So you'll see the consistency there of my ganache. It's quite thick. You don't want this to be too thin or you're gonna end up with runs and dribbles everywhere. So I'm gonna put all of that on top, and then I'm gonna use my offset spatula just to strategically spread it around. Using my offset spatula now, I'm just gonna gently push out to the edges and then let it drip over the sides. With our cake now frosted, candied and dripped, it's the best part. I've got my completed little chocolate shards, and they're gonna be the first things that I put in. Because I know they're gonna be quite delicate, I'm just gonna carve a little guide hole just into the back, roughly where I think it's going to go. And make sure that your decorations are not too close to the very back of your cake, because you don't want them to drag back and actually pull the cake away. All right, in they go. In goes all of your delicious candy. All right, that's it, we've done it. This is our Willy Wonka inspired over-the-top candy drip cake. I hope you guys love how it turned out. I am beyond excited. Willy Wonka, one of the ultimate movies, and for me, this is one of the ultimate cakes. I hope you guys liked today's video. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you do for 2 new videos every week. And as always, guys, thanks very much for watching.